Welcome everybody back to that Flight Sim channel. This is Captain Gonzo, wishing you all a happy new year. First off, it is January 2nd. We are here getting back to work and doing some more tutorials and recordings as we have promised you guys. And here we are, guys, on yet another very favored turboprop aircraft that is being used a lot on the career mode. For those of you, we've been reading the comments and we saw there were some people asking about the Caravan, so here we go. Now, we're not going to pull out the EFB for this walk around. We're going to do it ourselves, and then I'll show you what I look for. But you can always do it with the EFB. Just toggle it, go to your aircraft icon, checklists. We recommend you set it to expert. It's going to give you the more in-depth pre-flight and engine start procedures and all that. And it's just going to make you a better pilot overall in the simulator. So anyways, guys, let's go ahead and remove the intake covers here. This, of course, is the Pratt & Whitney PT6. Very famous and common engine in turboprop aircraft. So we'll take a look. Strut assembly looks great. Tire looks good. We don't hear any leaks. Prop blades all look solid. Remember, any nicks, cracks, damages on the propeller blades can actually throw the balancing off of the entire power plant, and especially doing high RPM, high power settings, could lead to catastrophic issues. So very important to keep an eye on that. Let's go ahead and inspect that PT6 a little bit closer under the hood. Brake fluid reservoir looks good. External power input there looks great. And if you're wondering, there's your GPU connection. As you can see, it takes 28 volts. And it's fed in here. Then the aircraft uses that direct current, DC, to power avionics and systems before engine start. But everything looks good. Nice 8.0 clamps, love them. Looks good. Looks like we've got a protector sleeve there over those connections. That's good. I'm going to say that's a good engine inspection. Let's close it. Now let's walk here on the leading edge. Look at the leading edge of the strut and the wing. Let's pull the pitot cover. Now, if you're wondering, the leading edge here on the Cessna 208 Caravan, it does not have the rubber de-ice boots that you would typically find on other aircraft, such as the Pilatus. Now, what you're seeing is the shiny metal, right? And what this has is a lot of very fine micro holes, per se, like pores. Like, imagine the pores on your skin. And the way that works is in ice conditions, the pilot can turn on TKS, which is a de-icing fluid that then will be seeping through every little pore here on the leading edges, as well as on the empennages over there. You can see the shiny metal and the horizontal stabilizers, and that will break up the ice. So that's why you see the shiny metal. It's a nice modern feature. The Cirrus aircraft have it as well, so pretty cool. All right, guys, checking the main tire here on the left-hand side. Let's pull those chocks. We are in the scientific research variant. However, for some reason, my internals are not really loading. But I'm going to say our cargo has been loaded. Let's close up the hatch. This is a pretty cool livery, man. I like the colors. We're going to walk towards the left-hand horizontal stabilizer. Looking at the static wicks. Elevator seems fine. Rudder is good. Now, here in the real-world aircraft, you want to look here at your flight control, your gust lock. You have it in the unlocked position. If you're going to try to take off with this locked, good luck with that. Although I don't think it's modeled, so that's a good thing. You have your tie down point here, and sometimes these airplanes do have a tail stand, especially with Mountain Air that flies for FedEx. As the aircraft gets loaded or unloaded, it has the potential to tip on its tail, so they put a little tail stand here somewhere, and it holds it nice in place. All right, empennage, leading edge looks good. Horizontal stabilizer looks good there. Nice and shiny. Let's check this door for the passenger entry. Checks out. Let's go ahead and close her up. Checking the right-hand side main tire. Strut look good. And by the way, there you go. Let me zoom in there a little bit. See if I can get it to zoom in. Nah, it's not zooming in. As you can see, TKS ice protection. That's what I was talking about earlier, where you have those little pores and little micro holes along the leading edges, and that fluid comes out, takes care of the ice for you. Let's walk this leading edge. Wow, what's going on here, guys? I'm walking all crooked now. Looking at the strobe and light assembly there. Aileron looks fine to me. I see static wicks are nice and intact. The flaps look good. I don't see any damages. Let's look at that awesome exhaust on the PT6. We can open this real quick. Take a look on this side of the power plant. That's pretty awesome. Great modeling, man. I used to fuel these airplanes, by the way, in real life. Another very common plane I had to fuel. You had to get up on a 10-foot ladder, and the fuel caps are somewhere up here. Pretty gnarly. And this looks exactly how it did from what I remember years ago. So pretty cool. All right, guys. I think that's a good pre-flight inspection. Let's go ahead and open that cockpit door to the pilot side, and let's go ahead and get started for a pre-flight inspection inside. All right, guys, we are in the flight deck of the Caravan here, and keep in mind that because we are on the expert level for the EFB, we are going to have a lot of stuff to check here. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look. So this is the pre-flight inspection. It's going to start with the cockpit. So it wants us to verify that the fuel selector is set to both, which will be in the overhead position. We'll take a look, and there you go. You can see that they are on both sides. They are looking good. Now this checklist right here is the external checklist. So I'm going to say we've completed that. Now let's go ahead and head over to the pre-flight, not the pre-flight, excuse me, the before starting engine checklist right here. All key locking cabin doors, passenger briefing complete, cabin doors have been latched. All right, left crew door locked and override knob, same thing for the right. Let's go ahead and verify the parking brake is set. You can see the parking brake is here, which typically hides behind the pilot yoke. So make sure it is on, which is pulled towards you. Control lock. So the control lock, there wouldn't be any control locks, or we don't have it right now, but you would have some type of flag or like metal plate that sits right here, and it prevents you from moving the the yoke aft and forward. Seats and seat belts are good. All switches are off, and all the switches are over here on the left hand side. You can see you've got battery, you've got your starter, avionics, power, ignition, etc. Make sure that it's on off for now. Everything's looking good. So the ignition, which is part of that group right there, should be in the norm or bottom position. That's good. Circuit breakers, they are all in. I don't see anything popping out. I don't even know if they're actually modeled. That's good. Fuel tank selectors, we just verified it up top. They're both on. The vent air fans also up top. I want to make sure that they are closed. And you can see right now they're showing 0%. So left wing, right wing, 0%. Air conditioning switches off. They're going to be here just forward of your power and throttle quadrant area. So let's go ahead and set it to off. All that is low. Temperature selector closed. So yep, all the way left. Bleed air heat is right here. It is off. Cabin heat mixing air has to be in the fully forward configuration. So we're going to go ahead and set it forward to flight. You can see it's changed modes there, and it even tells you right there mixing air. So ground pull, flight push. That's for your cabin heat mixing air. Emergency power should be in normal. So you can see your emergency power is that red lever here that sits just left of the throttle or your power there. So make sure it's a normal. You can see it written there on the plastic or whatever material that is there. Power, make sure it is in the idle position. We are in the idle, confirmed. Prop RPM, push the lever fully forward. That's going to be your blue handle. You're going to set it all the way forward. There we go. Fuel condition, that is your condition lever. It's kind of like your mixture lever on a piston engine, except here we call it the condition lever. And so right now we want to make sure that it is in the cutoff, so there is no fuel being introduced to that engine. So pull it fully backward. The fuel shutoff, fuel and oil shutoff is right here. So you want it pushed in to be open, pushed out or pulled out to be off. Let's go ahead and turn battery 1 on. Avionics 1 on. You can hear the avionics cooling fans coming up. The wing flaps, make sure they are up. Confirmed 0 degrees. Seatbelt signs on. And the no smoking sign on. Fire detection warning. We're going to move the switch to the up position and check the annunciator is on. Okay, so let me reset the camera here. I don't know why it brought me down. Doing the fire warning test. We're holding it up. See if anything is simulated here or modeled. I don't see anything, guys, so that's a shame. Alright, fuel selector off warning. So we're going to leave it in the middle there. Oh, there we go. Let me put these to off. And now it wants me to bring the switch to the down position. And it wants me to check that we have a fuel warning. Nope. Nothing showing there, guys. Alright, well, I guess we'll skip through that here in the video when I'm editing, because this is pointless at this point. So let's go ahead, come back up top. We're going to set them back to on, because we're going to be getting ready for engine start here. Now, a quick note here. You can see at the end of this checklist is having you turn off your avionics and your battery. Keep it on, guys, and you'll see why. Because once you go to starting engine, look at that. First thing it wants you to do is throw your battery on. Now it wants you to throw your beacon on. So I'm going to send it from my Honeycomb Alpha. But your lights are right here. You've got your beacon coming on. Avionics 1, we've already verified it is on. Engine indicating system, EIS. Verify that there are no red X's. So yeah, you want to look at your MFD here. Make sure you don't have anything crossed out over your NG, your ITT, or your torque. Everything looks good. Nothing's out of the norm. Your bus voltage should be at least 24 volts. We're showing 25 volts. That's good. Emergency power. Once again, that red handle next to your power lever. Right here. It's in the normal position. It's indicated. And emergency power lever annunciator. Check off. So you don't see anything on the annunciator there. On your CAS, your alerts, you're good. Prop area is clear. Verify that all people and equipment are at a safe distance from the propeller. Very important. Very important. Yep, we're good. And your fuel boost pump is going to be here on the left-hand panel. We're going to turn it on. Now, I haven't noticed the fuel boost annunciator showing up on my CAS. Again, I don't know if it's a bug on my end or something that Asobo is just completely not caring about. But we're going to say yes. We know the fuel pump is on. We're good. Fuel pressure low annunciator. Check off. So I only have the oil pressure and low volts, low vacuum, nothing with the fuel pressure. We are going to verify that the fuel flow is 0. So your fuel flow is found right here, which is fuel flow pounds per hour, and is showing 0. So that's good. And now we're going to get ready to engage the starter. So we're going to come back here to the left-hand console. We're going to set that to start, and then we're going to check that the annunciator is showing ignition. So let's go ahead. You can hear it spooling up. Once again, Asobo leaving us hanging. I don't see any annunciators here showing that my starter or my ignition is on. But you can see my RPM rising. ITT is coming slowly to life. Oil pressure. So you can see the oil pressure is climbing. You can see oil temperature climbing. And we gotta wait for NG 12%. Okay, we're showing at least 12%. Now I'm taking my time because I want to walk you guys through this one. Let's go to the fuel condition, right? That's your condition lever. You're gonna throw it to the low idle, which is your first detent there. There we go, low idle. And look at your ITT. Fuel flow, we're checking for 90. And you want to make sure that your ITT does not exceed 1090, right? That's going to be your maximum. So right now it's staying stable. 360, you might see a spike up here a little bit. There it goes. That's good. So it doesn't want to see anything beyond 1090, and it's limited to 2 seconds if it does reach that point of 1090, which would be pretty crazy. Now let's go back to our starter and turn it off. By the way, I just realized here, so this could have been my fault, but when I set ignition on annunciator, I'm assuming it wanted me to throw the ignition on. However, it is in the norm position and we've still got a good engine start. So I say we're good, but typically I'm used to throwing that ignition to on. So don't know if that's a real life thing on the Caravan or if that's something that, once again, Asobos just doesn't care about. So anyways, just wanted to point it out. I did catch that just now, but we'll continue on. So we're going to verify CAS. We don't see anything about the starter. Verify no red on the engine indicating system. So once again, guys, we'll take a look here next to the MFD. Everything is in the green. PSI and temperature for your oil is in the green. Generator amps, we're good. Generator off. Annunciators, we don't see anything. Battery amps. So it's showing 0. That's interesting. Wants us to show positive. Fuel boost, it's got to come to norm, so we're going to put it back. Fuel boost annunciators, or make sure that they are off. Again, nothing showing. I think this is pointless. I don't know why they included it on the checklists. However, obviously, this is kind of correct technically if it's saying check off, so there's nothing there. I guess I am wrong. Avionics 2, come back to the left console, throw it on. Nav lights, I'm going to flick it from my side, but we got them right here. And cabin heating and defrosting as needed. There you go, guys. We've got the starting engine checklist complete. Now, for the taxi checklist, all it wants us to do is roll slowly, then apply the brakes to check that they are working properly, and check your flight instruments. So we'll go ahead and stop it here, and then we'll pick back up when we're taxiing out. Okay, guys, so we've got the Caravan fired up, and we are getting ready to taxi out. Now, I wanted to point something out here on the Caravan that is modeled, and that is something that is a unique feature to turboprop engines. And so you can see right here on the throttle quadrant, we've got our throttle lever. You've got your ground idle, or your flight idle, I should say right now. And then just underneath that, you've got an area called beta, just before you get to reverse. So what is beta, guys? Beta, simply put, is, as it shows right there, it's a small range between flight idle and your reversed. So what you're doing with that is, essentially, if you need to come and slow down a little bit and you don't want to be riding your brakes, you throw it into beta. Now, I've got it mapped out in my Honeycomb Bravo, but all you would do is just bring that power lever back into beta. You can hear the RPM slightly dropping. There's a warning there from the simulator telling me that it detected a detent. So if you're needing to slow down and you need to pretty much take a taxiway turn or something like that and you're coming in too hot, that's where beta is your friend. You don't have to ride the brakes. You don't have to go into full reverse. And even from there, look, if I wanted to, I can decrease and engage reverse thrust. But let's go back to flight idle. And again, just want to point out, with that beta, you are also changing the pitch, or the pitch on those propeller blades, which is going to redirect that airflow from it. So it's going to change the thrust that is being produced from the propeller. But very important to know, and it's a good feature to have, something that I wish the PC-12 was modeled with, but anyways, one can dream. So anyways, guys, enough of the chatter. We are good to taxi. We'll be taking runway 33 left, which is just to our right here. Let's duck underneath here. There's the parking brake. We're going to run over this poor line service technician. There we go. She got the idea. Never mind, we just committed murder. All right, let's get on the power. Let's check the brakes. Oh yeah, we got good brakes. And as for taxiing out, let's go ahead and throw our taxi light, which is found here. Let me show you guys. So I'm gonna give it power. I'm getting on the throttle here. By the way, keep an eye out. You see how I'm keeping my condition lever on low idle? You want to use that for ground ops like this when you're taxiing and not, getting ready for departure. So let's go ahead and go into beta. And look at this. You can see the aircraft physically slowing down. Allow me to take this turn. Going back to flight idle. It is so nice not having to ride those brakes. So again, all you have to do, throw it into beta, and you can physically hear the engine changing. You can hear that engine note changing a little bit, and you'll see your aircraft starts to slow down without having to go into full reverse. All right, guys, we'll pick back up when we are holding short here of runway 33 left. So see you in a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw up a quick flight plan. We're out of Houston, so let me see. Let me think about something. Yeah, there we go. KEFD, whatever airfield that is. Let's go ahead and throw a route. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go here into your PFD on the pilot side, or you can do it on the MFD as well. It doesn't matter. You can hit the FPL or your flight plan key. So here we are in the flight plan page. As you can see, we don't have anything selected. So we're going to go ahead and use the big wheel. Scroll down underneath the origin. Start scrolling. There we go. Now you see that little icon, guys? You're going to click that icon. And now you can use your physical keyboard. And life is so much easier. One of you guys on the comments section pointed that out recently, and it made my life easier. Now remember, after you're done typing, go ahead and click that icon once again. Press enter. And then here, for runway, we're going to select 33 left. That's what we're lining up for. Enter. Enter again. And you can see it's even showing your METAR and your weather right now. So winds 060 at 6, 10 miles. Overcast 4,800 feet. Temperature 14, dew point 08. Altimeter 3031. Now this is outdated. I just checked the weather on the actual weather tab there, and it's slightly different, but we'll call it good. En route, we're going to skip that for now. We're not going to have a full-on route. And for destination, let's go to Houston. Yeah, HOU. So once again, start scrolling. Keyboard button, KHOU. Oh, that's the William Hobby. See, I was wrong. I suck, guys. Press the icon once again. Press enter. Runway, let's see. Let's go. Yeah, let's go runway 31 right. Sounds good. Whatever that is. So there we go. We've got a basic flight plan now loaded on our G1000. And we are good for now. And then you can just press on the flight plan. And now you're back on your map. You've got your range key here. You can zoom in, zoom out. So our plan is to take off in a northwest heading. And then we're going to turn southbound and intercept that course and head down to Houston. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our altitude bug set. Since we're heading southeast, let's do 3,500. That's a good altitude for VFR. Now you're probably wondering why 3,000 and 500. Well, in case you did not know, when you're flying in VFR conditions or visual flight rules, you're actually going to go, right? So if you're between heading 001 and 179 degrees, so pretty much from north to south, but easternly side, you're going to be on odd number flight levels. And if you're between 180 and 360, I know I'm off by a few degrees here and there, guys, so correct me. But yeah, you're on even numbers. So that's just for altitude separation. And when you're on visual conditions, you add 500 feet. So we're heading southeast-ish. We're going to be on an odd number, 3,000 plus 500 feet. So just another quick lesson. All right. So we've got our altitude. Let's go ahead and set our heading bug by using the heading knob here. Yeah, let's set it to... Let's fly westbound on departure, so then we can turn southbound. 270, there we go. Alright, now let's go ahead and pick up that before takeoff checklist. Now it is kind of hefty, guys. Yeah, so hang in there with me. We'll walk you through this. Parking is set, seats and seat belts, flight controls, we're going to check them and clear. They are correct. They feel great. Flight instruments checked, everything is A-OK. Backup airspeed, attitude indicator, altimeter, and our torque meter there looks great, so that's good. Standby altimeter has been set, so we've got it to 29085 and is synced with both our PFDs, our primaries. Altitude selector set, 3,500 feet. Standby flight instruments, we've checked them. Fuel boost to norm, and that's going to be once again here. There's your fuel pump, make sure it is on norm. Fuel quantity check. So that's going to be here on your EIS, your engine indicating system, on the MFD. And you can see we've got 527 pounds on either side, plenty of gas. Once again, to verify that fuel and oil shutoff knob is in the in or open position. Elevator trim, that big scrolly wheel. Make sure it is lined up with the dash triangle there. We are in the takeoff config. Aileron trim, and the same thing. We're going to verify that we are within that triangle. So let's go left, let's go right. That looks center. Same thing for your rudder trim. There we go. Now it wants us to set power to 400 foot-pounds of torque. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's start increasing power, and we're going to find 400 foot-pounds. Okay, so we're kind of holding at 400 there. Bus volts, verify that we're showing 28.5 minimum. We're showing 28. Again, don't know if that's an issue with the sim and the aircraft, so whatever. Good enough for me if you ask me. The inertial separator check, so that's going to be below us here. It's that big old knob right now. So it wants us to turn the control counterclockwise and pull to bypass. So right now I believe it is pulled. And then it wants us to verify that the torque drops. And then we're going to move the control back to normal and check that the original torque is regained. So let's try it. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, you can see a slight drop in your torque. It's good. Let's go back into our normal position. And there's torque climbing back up to about 410 where we had it. I'm going to call that good. Verify all temperatures within 32 degrees Celsius to negative 99. So we are at 70 degrees. That's good. All right, now we're going to check the overspeed governor check. So move the lever to the idle position. We're back at idle. Prop RPM to max. Check. And now we're going to press and hold the test button while performing the next series of steps. Now, where's that overspeed governor test? Right yonder here, boys and girls, underneath your left-hand side vent. So you're going to want to hold the governor speed test. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push power lever gradually to display 1765 plus or minus 35 RPM. Then we'll move the lever to idle and release the governor. So we're holding the overspeed governor test. And then we're going to look for 1765. We verify that. 1765 on the RPM. So here we go. There we have it. We're within that plus or minus 35 RPM. Now we're going to go back to idle. And we'll release the overspeed governor test. Alright, so that all checked out. It wants us to adjust the friction on the throttle quadrant. We're good there. Standby power check. All right, so select the engine soft key, alternator switch. Let's verify it is on. It is on. All right, now it wants us to trip the generator. Check the load. All right, standby power. Make sure that it is on. All right, guys, so just kind of hijacking the video here. So where it says to verify that the annunciator is on, I made a mistake in the simulator, was lost in the sauce. All it wants you to do is verify that that yellow or amber light is illuminated just forward of the standby power. And so I'm here looking at the CAS and engine indicating system to see if there's anything about the standby power, not realizing that it was just asking to verify that it is illuminated and letting you know that it is on. So I'll cut it right here. These steps I don't think are too crucial for you guys right now. So let's continue. We're going to pick back up here in the electric pitch trim. So using your electric pitch trim, you can see we've moved the pitch trim and it corresponds to the wheel down there. So make sure you're in the takeoff config. Inertial separator, position to normal or bypass as conditions warrant. Now, when you're on the ground, you want to have that inertial separator in the normal config there. You don't want to have any debris or fodder or anything be ingested in there and potentially cause some damage. So I would leave it in the regular position as needed. Avionics set for departure. Radar set. Navigation soar has been set. Transponder. So let's go to our PFD here on the G1000. You're going to want to go to XPDR. Your transponder code for VFR is indeed 1200. If you needed to change the code, you can press code, type it in yourself. But right now we're going to back, and we're going to go to altitude reporting mode as we get ready to take the runway. Strobes. Strobe lights are going to be over here. I'm going to set it to on. Annunciator. Verify no annunciators are shown. Yeah, it's been showing half off for all the stuff they wanted me to check earlier, so pointless. Set flaps to the takeoff and approach or for desired takeoff performance. So that's going to be our first notch of flaps there. Coming down. Cabin heat. Mixing air. Make sure it is pushed full forward. It is in flight. Crew vent window closed and latched. Yep. Brakes release, and it wants us to throw that condition lever to high idle. So let's go ahead and set it to high idle. You can already hear the RPM rising, ITT's climbing, torque's climbing. We're getting ready for departure. Okay guys, and for a normal takeoff, we're going to be looking to keep the takeoff approach flap setting. Observe takeoff, ITT, and NG limits. So again, you don't want to just match that power full throttle. You want to keep an eye out on your limits here. Keep it all green. And we're going to verify that no annunciators are shown. We're going to rotate at 70 to 75 knots indicated airspeed as shown here. And then we're going to climb at 85 to 95 knots. And then we're going to clean the flaps up. So let's go ahead and take the runway, guys. Let's get landing lights on as well. You can see the aircraft really wants to pick up speed now, taxiing, now that we're in high idle. Alright guys, so let's start introducing power here. Nice and easy, nice and easy. We're monitoring our engine indicating systems there. See RPM's getting a little bit. There we go. It's stabilizing, stabilizing. There's about 2,000 to 2,100 foot-pounds of torque. Let's go ahead and release the brakes. Remember, heels on the floor. Don't right your brakes as you begin your roll for takeoff. Look at the airspeed just picking up like nothing. And there's 70. We're rotating. Wow, that was really sensitive. Yeah. There we go. So we're climbing between 85 to 95 knots. Let's go ahead and pick up the flaps. You can see ITT is running a little bit hot there, so let's go ahead and reduce power. There we go. Now she's breathing. We're still maintaining that airspeed for our climb. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and throw the autopilot on. So we're going to come up here into our mode control panel. We're going to get the flight director on. We're going to go autopilot, yaw damper. Let's go to vertical speed. We'll keep climbing at, let's do 1,400 feet a minute. That was a good ascent rate. And let's go ahead and enable heading mode, which can be found up here. Now you can see the flight director is that magenta forward-looking arrow that is showing where it wants you to go in order to meet the criteria you've told the autopilot. In this instance, it's showing about 6-7 degrees pitch up, and it's turning the wings left to intercept for that heading of 270. Keep in mind, no auto throttle on the Caravan Cessna 208, so you're going to have to manage that yourself. Keep an eye on your airspeed indicator. If you don't get any airspeed indications, you've got your backup airspeed indicator here. Just understand what you're doing at all times. And guys, monitor your engine performance and your conditions. Remember, it's really easy to get carried away and just throw power into the max. If you are doing a short field takeoff and you've got maybe 1,000 feet of runway available and that's all you got, then by all means put that engine to work. But if you don't need to, especially in career mode, and you want to prolong the lifespan of this engine, monitor your engine performance and just keep that engine happy. You can see right now, ITT, it's going to be in the green. Our RPM is nice and happy, and our torque is more than plenty to maintain a good speed. But we're going to go ahead and roll off here at a heading of 270 at 3,500 feet, and then we'll pick back up here momentarily. Alright guys, so we are cruising along at 3,500 feet. We got good airspeed, good engine, everything is fine. Now, I'm going to take advantage here in this portion, and we're going to make this a quick kind of G1000 / autopilot tutorial. So remember, we set up our flight plan via the flight plan page here, and we've got a destination set as Houston with runway 31 as our approach. Now, just some few things I want to point out here on the top of your navigation map. Okay guys, so looking at your MFD here with your navigation display, you can see you've got some values here on the top of your nav. So you've got a ground speed of 169, which is our ground speed, of course, 169 knots. And you've got two values here. You've got DTK and TRK. So what are these? So you've got one is your track, which is your actual direction of travel over the ground, which is showing 159 degrees. And if you look at your HSI, you're showing about 160, 161. So that checks out. So what is DTK? Well, DTK is your desired travel, or track, I should say, in order to get back in course, because the GPS is sensing that, hey, wait a minute, you've got a track loaded up, but we're off course. So it wants me to turn and follow a desired track of 166. And it's also showing a estimated time en route right now of 5 minutes and 50 something seconds. So just quick stuff right there. And actually, let me clarify, this is not to intercept the nav course. This is just a desired track based on the wind conditions and all that right now. So yeah, just some quick important values there. Now let's take a look at our flight plan. Once again, we're coming in for runway 31 right. Now, if you want to load an approach, you've got your proc or your procedures key on your PFD and MFDs. You can click on that. You can select approach, press enter. And right now we are using, what was it, runway 31 right. Yep. So we're just going to use the visual. We got good conditions. We're going to press enter. Transition, we'll just do straight in. Minimums, we won't worry about that today. And right now, there is showing that a final approach course of 312 degrees should line us up with that runway. So now, using the big knob, you're going to keep scrolling past your sequence, and you're going to press activate, right? Because right now, we're going to be within, 4.5 minutes from getting to Houston. So we're going to go ahead and activate. And what you can do now is look at your PFD. You see those magenta boxes? That's showing your direction where you should be traveling to meet that objective or that route. So we're going to press back. We're going to change the CDI, or your course deviation indicator, to GPS. Now we're going to hit nav. And you can see the aircraft is going to bank, and it's going to find that desired track along those boxes. Now, if you think this is not real, guys, I promise you this is 100% real. This is a feature on the Garmin suite of avionics. It's like cheating. Honestly, it's cheating. But it's like they say, if you're not cheating, you're not winning, right? So this, I've done it before on the Cirrus, the SR-22, done a couple of RNAV approaches, simulated, of course, because I'm not instrument pilot, with a certified flight instructor, and it was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. It was phenomenal. So there we go. Quick lesson on how to use the autopilot feature. We're back on track. And of course, guys, if you're ready to descend, you can just select your altitude. We can set it down to, I don't know, let's do 1,500 feet above the ground. And then you can either hit flight level change, or you can use vertical speed. We're going to use vertical speed right now. Flight level change mode will hold whatever airspeed you're currently at, and it'll pitch down. And you can also use vertical speed just to make it easier. So let's go vertical speed. We're going to descend at, let's do about 1,000 feet a minute. We're getting pretty close to the airfield now. Let's reduce power. And we're going to pause the video here, and we'll pick back up as we're getting ready for our landing. Okay, guys, we're here descending. You can see the airfield's just off our nose there. We're just a few miles away. So why are we flying in this route if I selected the visual approach to runway 31? Well, what we did was we loaded the approach there, and we activated it as a straight in, but it's actually going to have us circle around, right? Because remember, we're heading south. And so we need to spin around here and do about a 180 and line ourselves up at runway 31 right. So it could get a little confusing. Just make sure you understand your orientation in relation to the airfield that you're landing in, because it can be very confusing in real life. If you land on an opposite runway, oh well, good luck with that. You better have a good excuse for that. You can always tell them you were inverted, right? Top Gun reference for all my older guys there. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of join this half kind of crooked downwind. It's going to be a right downwind from runway 31 right, and then we'll make the base turn final and we'll bring it in. So as the aircraft is descending and stabilizing there, we're going to switch now to heading mode. Let's go ahead and set our heading to establish ourselves on a better downwind leg. Somewhere about there, we're going to hit heading. And there we go. Now the aircraft is going to follow the heading bug that you set on your HSI or horizontal situation indicator. There we go. We're flying nice along, nice and easy. Let's get back on the power a little bit. Let's clear the procedures. Flight plan key, we don't need that anymore. We're going to go ahead and pull up our before landing checklist. So seats and seat belts. Fuel tank selectors, they should be both on. You can see that it was highlighting them. They're up here. The big two knobs, make sure they are in the open. Fuel condition lever, make sure you're on high idle, full forward. Prop RPM, max. Radar as required, autopilot off before 200 feet above ground level on approach or 800 feet above ground level. Yaw damper, turn it off, same conditions before 200 feet above the ground level on approach or 800 feet above the ground level. And you're going to set your flaps as desired. We'll pull up the normal landing, so normal conditions will be flaps down all the way down to landing, you can see. And if you're wondering, I just want to clarify something, guys. You can look at your backup airspeed indicator or your current airspeed indicator, and you can see that it's in the green, right? And you've got your white band. So what is the white band? The white band is your VFE, or your flaps extended speed. Now, that is for full flaps, okay? That doesn't mean that you have to wait till you're in the white to deploy the first couple of degrees of flaps. You can always look down here on your flaps handle, and you can see how for takeoff and approach, you can set them at 150 knots indicated airspeed. However, for landing, you have to be at 125 knots indicated or less. And if you look at your airspeed indicator, voila, the white band comes up to about 125 knots. So keep in mind that is for your VFE or flaps extended speed in the full condition, or flaps down for landing. All right. So, okay, guys, so we're getting here ready to begin our right base for runway 31 right for a visual approach. We're at 1,500 feet. Let's go ahead and disengage that autopilot. So let's enable that yoke, and you can press the autopilot disconnect, or you can just go up here to the mode control panel and do it as well. I'm going to do it here. Let's go ahead and turn it off. So first things first, autopilot is off. Let's turn the yaw damper off and flight director off, and let's begin that right base turn. And we're going to set the flaps down to landing as we slow down. We're going to look for an airspeed of 75 to 85 knots indicated on our final approach. And we're going to touch down with the main wheels first, throw the power into beta, and we're going to hit the brakes. Fair enough. So here we are. We're going to square off this base turn, looking for the runway. I've got it in sight. Let's go ahead and get flaps into the approach. Again, we're below 150 knots indicated. Look at the nose coming up, coming up. And we're fight it with pitch down and trim. You can see we're climbing way high. And let's begin that final turn here. You can see why it's important to be ready to put nose down, get on that trim, so that you don't hit a crazy climb. I've got a visual on 31 right. It's going to be the shorter runway there on the right-hand side. But now we're going to focus on the outside, so let's go ahead and start dropping power. Let's go ahead and get flaps full to landing. Again, nose down, nose down. And we're going to shoot for 75 to 85 knots indicated on that final approach. You can see we're really, really high here, guys. But it's fine because this aircraft slows down. We gently float down. And like I said in a comment before, and from what I've heard from real caravan pilots, this is like flying a Cessna 182 on steroids with a turboprop. You can even see that diamond on your altitude side, and that's your glide slope. So we're slightly high right now, right? If the diamond's low, you're high. If the diamond's high, you're low. There's 83 knots. We're still within that 85 or 75 to 85 knots. There's the 500 feet warning. I didn't even bother checking my altimeter. It's fine. And now your job is to maintain that airspeed, bring the aircraft down on its main gears, and put her down, guys. Here we go. And let's go ahead and bring power to idle. We're going to float it off here. This thing is floating. We're in some pretty good ground effect here. Look at this. Look at this thing. It's just floating, floating, floating. Hold it, hold it. Resist that temptation to pitch up like I'm doing. Let the airspeed bleed off, guys. Let it bleed off. And there you go. You're on the ground. And now let's throw that engine into beta. Look at that. No brakes. This is all in beta. I don't even have to go into reverse. Let's go to power idle. And that's it, guys. That's it. You've successfully, if you followed along with this basic tutorial, you've just done a quick hop from George Washington Airport. Not George Washington, George Bush. I got to get my airport names right, man. People are going to start hating on me here. So we're going to vacate the runway here to the right. There we go. Let's cross the runway, hold short lines here. I hate these default generic models, man. I don't know how to turn them off. Still got to figure that out. All right, let's set the parking brake for now. And let's see what we got for our checklist. After landing, flaps. Let's come in and bring him up. So the pedostatic heat, which is found here on the forward left console. We're going to turn it off. We're going to turn the stall heater off. Alternator switch coming to off. So it is currently on. We'll leave it there. Standby alternator is off as well. Yep, standby power in op annunciator. Make sure that it is on. Turn off the strobes. We don't want to be blinding people. Landing lights coming off. Again, your exterior lighting is here next to your PFD. Taxi lights are still on, and fuel condition, let's throw it down to your low idle. There we go. And now we taxi in and we get ready for shutdown. So we'll start taxiing. You guys don't need to see this again. I'll pick back up for our shutdown. All right, guys, here we are taxiing in with the Caravan, the 208. We're going to find a spot here in this open ramp. I wonder if there's a scenery, an add-on scenery for this airfield. You kind of get spoiled, guys, once you start picking up some payware sceneries and the airport actually looks like a real airport. It really makes a difference. All right, let's go next to these generic models here. And here we are. We are in our parking spot. So let's go ahead and throw the parking brake on. Release the wheel brakes, and let's find our shutdown. Parking brake is set. Bleeder heat is off. You can see it. It's over here. Bleeder is indeed off. Temperature selector. Turn the knob counterclockwise completely. Yep. It's completely closed. Never used it. Vent air fans. Make sure they are closed. Left and right. And I never used them either. Air conditioning switch. They're all off. Power. Verify you're in idle. ITT at minimum temperature for 1 minute. So we're going to let it sit there at a minimum temperature for about a minute as we continue with this shutdown. Prop RPM, we're going to pull the lever fully backwards. So you're going to grab your power or your RPM handle. Don't even know why it's not showing now. Interesting. There it is. It was just glitching out. And you're going to pull it all the way back into your feather position. Fuel condition, we're going to throw it all the way aft, so cut off. There we go. Engine is slowly dying off. We're going to turn off all our exterior lights. Fuel boost to off. NG. We're going to wait below 10%. It is at 0%. Turn avionics powers off. 1 and 2. Throw the battery off. There we go. Control lock install if you have it. I don't think it's modeled here, at least not that I know of. So we're going to say it's on. Fuel selectors, make sure that they are off. So we're going to go into the up position for left and right. Chocks as required. We can't throw them back on, unfortunately. External covers install, and the oil breather drain cap or can drain it until it's empty. Now these are all not simulated until at least as far as I know. So that'll do it for this very basic tutorial. Now guys, we are paying attention to your comments. Some of you have said, hey Gonzo, hey Flako, you guys are making these basic tutorials and you guys are missing out on key features such as autopilot and basic, stuff like that. So we're going to try to adjust our tutorial series so that you guys can also learn a little bit more in-depth stuff on the aircraft. I hope that this tutorial showed that. And if I missed anything and you guys still have some questions, let us know, guys. We are paying attention. We're reading every single comment. We're trying to be as responsive as we can to your comments and your questions. And we just want to help you guys out. Keep in mind, we are no professionals. I am a private pilot in real world, but I do not fly anything remotely close to a Caravan. Instead, I fly Cessna 172s, Piper PA-28s, and some very minimal time on the Cirrus platform on SR-20s and SR-22s. But anyways, guys, enough of that. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial, basic tutorial on the Grand Caravan, Cessna C208, one of the favored aircraft for the career mode. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment below. And if you guys want to see some more footage on the Caravan and setting up the autopilot and doing full flights, we're more than happy to show you guys. But anyways, guys, this is Captain Gonzo with that Flight Sim channel, checking out for this quick basic tutorial. We'll see you on the next one. We're wishing you guys all smooth landings and happy flying. See ya.